We are Mike and Jen Negley. We've been in the community theater circuit around here for a good while. We are board members at Alchemy and often behind stage or on stage with these fine folks. Let's see, a little bit about what we do. We both are very much into stage combat. It was a focus of mine when I was in college, and Jen and I have been, keeping up our combat for years and years. And today we wanted to go through some storytelling techniques for stage combat. So we're going to go through, just some bullet points and have some discussion about that, and then we'll give you all a chance to tell your own story. So that should be a lot of fun. So storytelling in stage combat. I'm going to give you guys some handout kind of things. So this is just what we're going to talk about today for the most part, so that you can later remember what we're talking about. All right, so storytelling in stage combat. When characters resort to violence, it means that words have failed. We've gone from what from what we can do to, with words to, words don't suffice anymore. We've got to skip straight to violence. Stage combat is the visual application of violence to help tell that story. We have a whole lot of important safety rules, a lot of things that we do to, which we'll all go through later. But combat on stage has three main purposes. The first is to set the stage, to kick off the story. For example, Batman. If you know the story of Batman, if something doesn't happen to Batman's parents when he's a kid, he's not Batman. He doesn't have the impetus to become that. If you saw John Wick, if nothing happens to his dog, the rest of the movie doesn't happen. Luke Skywalker, his aunt and uncle have a bit of a run-in with the Empire, and it kicks him into high gear to go out into space and figure out his story. Combat can also raise the stakes of a story that you've already got in progress. Tybalt and Mercutio in the square in Verona, their blood is hot. It's a hot day, and those two go out looking for a fight. It sets the action going for the rest of the play. Without that, it's just a feud, and it stays where it is. When Tybalt kills Mercutio and then Romeo kills Tybalt, it sets off the action for the rest of the play. Luke and Obi-Wan. So Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in the middle of New Hope. We have this random fight that kind of happens sort of in the middle of the story. But Obi-Wan gets taken out as Luke's teacher, and it spurs everybody onward. Now Luke's got to learn on his own. And then the third way that storytelling, that combat helps in storytelling, is the payoff. So we set the stage, we raise the stakes, and then at the very end of the play, sometimes the story culminates in some sort of violence. Luke and Vader, Hamlet and Laertes, Macbeth and Macduff. These are all the big enders for the stories. We use a lot of techniques in storytelling for stage combat. The first is to emphasize your character. When we're getting ready to choreograph a fight, one of the first things we look at is who you are, what other people say about you. It's just like being an actor. You got to know who you're going to be. We try to figure out what that character's training is. Do they come from some sort of a fighting background, or they not know which end of a sword to point at people. We take into account their state of mind. So,
why did they even get to this point?
Yeah.
Why is, out of all the story we've told, why is this the moment that they make this choice?
Right, and what their state of mind is while they're fighting. If we can go back to Tybalt and Mercutio. So Tybalt and Mercutio have a very different feel to their fight. They come in, it's almost playful when they start. There's a lot of jokes in that fight. When Tybalt kills Mercutio and Romeo comes in, it's very different. Romeo is hot-headed. He's seeing red. He comes in swinging. It's a very different beginning to the fight. What their state of body is. Are they wounded? Are they tired? All of that's going to affect their ability to fight. And then something that we kind of enjoy is to look at animals. When we did Macbeth many years ago, and I'll keep saying it, sorry, theater gods. When we did Macbeth many years ago, we talked a lot about what sort of, a tool for the actors was what sort of animal they sort of saw themselves as in the fight. Macbeth often thought of himself as a snake in his fight with Macduff. So we choreographed his fight with that in mind, so that he could pull that character out into his fight. So he had a whole lot of, darting attacks, things like that. Other, characters, I think Macduff felt like a bull, like that kind of just strong presence coming in and, sort of that immovable object that you've got to fight against. While we're choreographing the fight, we also think about what's required. The script is going to tell us things that have to happen. We'll go back to Romeo and Juliet. Mercutio says, "Why came you between us? I was hurt under your arm." We have to have Mercutio be killed because Romeo tried to get in there and break up the fight. If Romeo doesn't get in the middle of it, then that line is useless, and we didn't do our jobs correctly. And then there's also things that may happen later in the script. Somebody might reference a black eye or a wound to the leg, something like that we have to account for. Third thing that we remember as we choreograph our fight is tempo and style. So when there's violence, when somebody is on the news and, it's the man or woman on the street, what do you always hear? It all happens so fast. I don't know what happened. It happens every time. Real violence in a real world setting is usually fast. And it's hard to tell what happens. You hear it every time. The witness doesn't know exactly what happened. That doesn't work for theater. A fight in theater has to have, a direction to go. It has to tell that story, and we've got to slow it down enough that can happen, so that the audience can follow it and knows what was going on. The style of the fight, has the tempo and the style. There are a lot of different ways to do it. If you think of Luke and Vader at the end of Jedi, they've got that very slow, measured attack. They're kind of going, they circle each other a lot. There's a lot of hiding. Luke, flips up into the ceiling and hides for a minute.
How much dialogue is that they have to get through? Is there dialogue during the fight? Is there dialogue? Because that's going to slow down your beats considerably.
Absolutely. Anakin versus Obi-Wan in the extended trilogy. It's a very different fight. They both come at it very hot-headed on a lava planet. It's very different. Inigo versus Wesley in The Princess Bride versus, Wesley versus Humperdinck at the end. Wesley barely even stands, and yet we still have that feeling of tension as we go through it.
That's probably a good thing to keep in mind is he's giving examples of very different fights that we're all familiar with. And think about the difference in the story they're telling in these fights. Like it's a marked difference between Luke and Vader, or between the Princess Bride fight. I mean, we're all familiar with it, and just by that application of all the things we were talking about, it completely changes.
Yeah.
Think about if Luke and Vader did their fight the way, Inigo and Wesley did their fight.
Yes, with that playful kind of.
That would be.
Yeah, I agree. And somewhere out there is my copy of the outline with more notes on it. The next thing that we think about in choreography is what's called a phrase and how it resolves. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. Jen and I are going to go through a fight that we choreographed once for Peter Pan, Pan versus Hook. In that fight, we're going to see some phrases. It's a moment for the audience to kind of take a breath and figure out what just happened. You'll see it all the time in, let's say the Princess Bride fight, Inigo versus Wesley. They have those moments, usually dialogue, why are you smiling? Because I am not left-handed either. Those moments are built in so that we can have a rapid exchange and then have it resolve and then move on to another exchange. Those phrases happen, at dialogue points or at high points. The way I choreograph is high point to high point. It's a strategy that I really enjoy. When I think about a fight, there are usually moments that I want to see in that fight. Pan versus Hook, let's say. Hook is an adult. He's much stronger than Pan. He's definitely got the reach and the strength, and Pan is small, as a child. So high points in that fight are things like, a bearing down of swords, like you're showing off that strength versus nimbleness. Hook attacking with his hook, things like that. So a lot of time my strategy will be to find those key moments that I want, and then we fill in the blanks. We just get from one point to the next. And then the last thing that we've got to think about is whether we can see it happening. This goes back to it happened so fast. You've got to know where your audience is and what they're seeing. If you hide the action from them, if I do a very important, stab right here and you can't see a thing, it's pointless, it's useless. If what I want is Jen's reaction, when that happens, then I'm going to face her toward you guys so you can see her eyes, you can see the light leave them. So all of that is important as we go through. Let's look at a fight.
And I guess that we should probably point out that we are running through a whole lot of stuff very quickly. When we would normally teach this and normally sit down and go through storytelling elements and things like that, we'd have a lot more time. One of my favorite things to tell actors, so you've probably heard me say it before if anybody's ever done this with us before, is the thing to remember with weaponry. You are the actor, you are in control, you are the tool that's telling the story. If this tells your story for you, you failed. You are the one, you should be able to tell your story whether this is in your hand or not. This is simply a tool that you are using to get your story across. And that's what we try to impress upon people when we're doing all this. And we've all seen it. We've seen a really good show and the actors are really in their groove and they're acting and you put a sword in your hand and they suddenly stop acting. They are just going through the motions and there's no urgency, there's no danger, there's no story, there's nothing. And then the fight ends and they pick back up.
If there's no heart to the fight, if there's no reason to be there, you'll see it in musicals. An actor will be emoting their heart out. They're going through, and then suddenly we get to a tap dance or some other kind of dance, and their faces, as they concentrate on everything.
I mean, that's 100% me.
Oh yeah, you see it all the time, and the same thing can happen in a fight. When we suddenly lose all sense of character.
But there's a lot of people along the way. I shouldn't, maybe saying you have failed is kind of harsh. There's a lot of people along the way that should have stopped you before you've gotten to that point. You've got fight directors, you have directors, you have everybody between you, your choreographer, everybody in between that should have had you comfortable enough at that point that you are able to do your job correctly. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong there.
For sure.
For
sure.
I shouldn't put all morning on. That was a little harsh.
Yeah, and we'll actually get into all of that as well in a moment when we talk about safety. Somewhere out there, someone has a paper that does not have a person on the back. Anybody see that? Nope? Everybody got a person on there? Well, I have no idea where my outline went, but all right, so we're going to go through the pan and hook fight. We've got a couple of extra people, I believe. Let's see. There it is.
Keep in mind, this is a fight that we did several years ago, so we're just now revisiting it, so you're probably going to hear us calling out the numbers as we go through it. So,
Yeah, you grab a sword and I'll do these So we'll go through pan and hook, and we're going to talk a little bit as we go through, breaking down what we've already talked about.
we also don't have a hook, so it's modified a little bit.
Imagine.
Pretend.
All right, so start of the fight. Pan and Hook come in with, Pan's got his Lost Boys all around him. Smee's got his pirates. Hook's got his pirates, Smee included. They've all got an audience to impress. So there's a lot of bravado at the beginning of the fight.
And in the interest of time, there is a lot of safety stuff you would normally go through for your partner that we're not doing or showing at the moment, but
We'll talk about that
Yeah.
in a moment. So 473. And there's the end of a phrase. We've given you a moment to think about it. Come back 425. Hook bears down on Pan to show off that strength. And slides it off. And a touch. The Lost Boys all enjoy the heck out of it. This is going to enrage Hook, so he's going to come in a little bit faster. 4-1-2.
forgot my There we go. That was my fault. There's a slash there.
This is a moment that has to be in the fight. The script then goes on to talk about whether Pan's going to give the sword back to Hook. We have eventually Peter decides that he's going to do so, and good form, Peter, good form.
At this point, I think Peter is still in his, this is all in good fun. And let's get Pinker.
Yeah. All right, so 5, 7, 3, 4, 5. Yep. That's how it should be. Taking Hook over to get a bomb. We should have killed him. So do you see the things that we talked about in that fight? You see the use of the different physical attributes of the characters. Pan's got a lot of dodging to the side, the sliding off and then doing a big tap to the butt. That's all in fitting with being a child, being more nimble than Hook.
Caveat is that I'm very tired and not as young as I used to be.
And also 6 feet tall. So, we show off those two, the dynamic of the two. We did several phrases so that you have a moment to get to dialogue or to, get a sense of what just happened. And each one of those phrases ends with some sort of a disengage action. So that first exchange, 4-7-3 at the top. So we'll go toward me, yeah. So 4, 7, 3. We use a disengaging action to pop open the area and then, do an attack that creates distance and breaks us apart for dialogue to come. All right, so I think we can all get into this now. So we're going to talk real quick about some safety. Safety first, safety last, safety always. That's kind of the motto of stage combatants. Anytime you go into stage combat, you're going to hear it. Safety first, safety last, safety always. It's the most important thing that we do. In a moment, we're going to warm up. It's always the first step. Make sure that you're not going to just injure yourself by moving too much before your body's ready for it. We're going to talk about focus. As soon as you get out onto the floor to do any kind of combat, everything else has to go away. We have to clear our minds of whatever we brought with us in the door, and instead focus on the job we're here to do. Focus on your partner and your surroundings. During a fight, eye contact with your partner. You saw it several times during our fight. So, for instance, that slide off at the end, so the finisher. So, came down at 5, Jen found it down, and then we look at each other to see that the area is clear for me to do my attack. So, I don't swing blindly behind me and hope that her head's out of the way. We make eye contact. Show each other, okay, here we go for the next bit. Distance and cues. So let's talk a little bit about distance. And we're going to do this together once everybody's got something in their hands. So
this is probably a good thing, too, while you're doing distance, is talk about stance a little bit. I don't know how many of y'all saw the fencing. And this kind of broke my brain, a little tiny bit of fencing I did way back in the day. Fencing is all about making yourself as small of a target as you could possibly be, because you're trying not to get hit. And if you notice, all of their work was here. It was all point work.
Yeah,
and
all
so,
here.
Yeah, and
but
so
that doesn't tell a good story.
Well, I mean, it is also not safe for actors because they're actually trying to kill each other.
Yeah,
or at least I mean, not in the sport, but historically.
Yeah, it's a good point. When we were talking, they had the fencing demonstration earlier. These are the epes. This falls into their second to last set of weapons. These are the ones that are heavier, but not the big old rapiers. So they're not quite as long as the rapiers that they had out.
When we go into stance, you notice we're squaring. We're basically showing our targets to each other, so we have a clear line of sight of what we're swinging at.
Yeah, and all of our attacks, rather than being down here, but we'll do that sometimes. If we're starting off a fight, I might do what's called a dégagé and go underneath, but I'm going to do that, make the noise so that everybody can follow what just happened, that it was a dip underneath. Distance and cues. So at the start of a fight, Jen and I would, do this, make sure that we can't actually kill each other with our blades. You'll see that a lot because most fights are going to start with, some sort of en garde, and we know this stance. Like this distance is going to be good. So we'll come online en garde. Pulling your strikes. The energy in stage combat, whether you're doing unarmed combat or sword play, the energy is always pull. You don't. I'm not going to haul off and punch Jen in the stomach if we're going to do a stomach punch in unarmed combat. So, like Jen, if you'll show them an unarmed punch to the stomach, Jen's going to use the flat of the back of her hand to make the noise.
Well, I'm probably not going to make a good noise, but I'm bad at naps. That's one thing I'm definitely bad at.
And the punch is just going to hit and not actually do anything. So if I were going to punch Jen, I do. And, my energy stops before it hits her, and we just do a little slap. In sword play, we do sort of the same thing. All the energy is like casting a fishing rod. So if I'm going to swing at 5, all my energy is here. So Jen, don't parry. So it's like I'm casting a fishing rod past her. All that energy goes there. So if Jen forgets to parry, if she forgets what number we're on, I'm not going to hit her in the head. I'm just going to stop here in the air, and we'll move on to the next thing, or we'll disengage and come to en garde and figure out where we went wrong. You see that sometimes, even in stage productions. If the actor goes blank,
It happens.
they'll come together and then back up and do this again, and one of them will go 4, 7, 3. So distance and cues. So pull our strikes. Never improvise. This gets us all the time, especially in unarmed combat. Actors will, kind of get carried away and start horsing around and just start inventing things. It's never a good idea. Your stage combat, your fight should be choreographed by somebody who knows what they're doing, and then stay the same all the time. It should become muscle memory by the time the performance happens, which leads us right into speed up when it's time. When we do a fight with the cast, we usually spend most of the rehearsal period at quarter speed or half speed. So the entire rehearsal process won't get to a full speed fight, which isn't even the speed it would be in the real world, until usually technically, the week before the performance. We'll go up to 3/4 speed, or it's always some fraction of what performance is going to be, up until a week and a half before the show, depending on how things are going. And so you got to resist the urge to pump up the speed when you're not ready for it. And then practice slow and often. Always have a fight call. Every play that you do, every production that has any kind of fighting in it should have a fight call before the show. So usually the fighters will get together, 15 minutes before all the other actors and go through each of their fights at a slow speed and then at the show speed, being watched by a fight captain or the fight director, so that we can see if there's anything that needs to be honed in, if targets that are starting to get wayward, anything like that. All right? So, you guys want to get up and start doing some fun stuff?
Yes.
All right. All right, come on up if you're going to play along. We'll see how many of us there are.
See how much room we have. Yeah.
Absolutely. Swords are going to be a little big.
These are going to be a little long, yeah.
All right, who all we have? There's some more. Owen, Chuck.
How many you got?
We got.
Is there swords for us?
Yeah.
I have ready.
Huh?
I have to go start getting ready.
Gotcha. All right, no worries. All right, so these two guys. Okay. Now resist the urge as I hand these out to suddenly start swinging them at each other. Okay. All right. We're gonna need some more. All right, so we're gonna share a little bit. Let's see. Okay. All right. So we'll share a little bit. All right. So as we start, we can give these to you guys. All right. All right.
All right.
Okay. Now just slow along. Okay. All right. So everybody, let's spread out a little bit. Give ourselves plenty of room.
Feel free to go up an aisle if you need to.
All right.
Yeah.
And the first thing we're gonna do is take our swords, put them on the ground. All right. So first thing, let's all stretch to the ceiling.
Just a big old stretch. Get on your tiptoes. Reach for the sky. All right. Feel it.
Yeah. All right. And then down. You can touch your toes. Awesome. All right. Now as we come up, we're gonna roll up slow. Okay. Put your back and then your head. All right. Roll your shoulders back when you get up there. And reach for the sky again. All right. And down. Shake your head around. Let all that out of there. All right. And then roll back up. Okay. Stretch your arm across your chest. Count 2 high. All right, pull across the other way. We're not gonna get anything crazy, so we won't go too far. And stretch out our legs. So get yourself a lunge. Your knee shouldn't go past your toes when you do this, okay? So keep your knee above your foot and stretch all of this. Okay? Good. All right, come back up, push on this one to get up. And let's do the other side. All right. Now, let's pick up our swords. Yes! I hear you. All right. So, yeah, let's get some room, okay?
We can go up here
Yeah, we'll go up here.
and get out of the way.
You guys can come down a little bit. All right. So the first thing, we're going to establish distance. Okay, so look at your partner, eye contact, and stretch out your sword and make sure that you can't hit their body. Okay, are we good? Nobody can kill another person? Good. All right. We're going to do 3 numbers. Okay, Jen and I were yelling out numbers at each other. We're going to do 3 numbers. Okay?
You should probably explain what those are real quick, because we did not.
Yes. So, stage combat, when we do swordplay, we break it all up into numbers so that we can, have some kind of a common vocabulary to work with. Okay? Everybody on this side of the room. Okay? Everybody on my side, we're going to do an attack first. Okay? So you take your right arm, bring your sword around, and we're going to go. Yeah, let's start with 3. So go the other side. All right?
Tell me where you want to start.
Yeah, 3. So go around the other side. You're going to strike at their right arm. Okay? Now, those of you that are on Jen's side, do what Jen's doing. Okay? So your sword's going to come out like this. Good. See how kind of up and down? So you want to give them a real solid thing to knock up against. And the other important thing is it's outside of your body. Okay? If you're parrying and you can see the end of their sword, then you're too far in. Bring it out. Okay? All right, so attackers out. And your sword should be not at their head, not here, but here. Right below their shoulder, so right about where their bicep is. Okay? It's going to be 3. Okay? So we've just learned 3. All right? Okay? Now let's swing it around the other side. We'll go to 4. It's the same thing on the other side. So now take your sword and push it out like this. Okay? So it's going to go across your body so that you can't see the end of their sword. Okay? So bring your sword in, straight to the side, and go for his left. Okay, now bring your blade across your body, like this. So keep her sword outside where you are. Okay? Looks good. How you guys doing? Okay, so 3 and 4. Good. Instead of locking your elbow, yeah, good. Okay? All right, so we got 3 and 4, and the last one we're going to do is 5. 5, you drop the end of your sword, and come over the top, and this is like that casting the fishing line, remember? So you're going to use your fishing pole, go straight out and up. Okay? Good. Good. All right, so let's do those 3 again. Okay, so 3, 4, 5. So 3 is going to be on the attacker's left, defender's right. So 3. Okay, and where's your target at? Good, I saw some of you adjust it. Okay, there you go, good job in the green dress. So drop it down a little bit more to his shoulder. You see it? There we go, just below shoulder. Good stuff. Okay, we're going to go 4, around. Good. Good stuff. And the last one, 5. So come up and over. Good, well done, well done. All right, and you're hearing that nice. All right. Okay, really good job. Really good job. Okay? So let's reverse it. Okay? So if you were attacking, you're now defending. So everybody on my side of the room, your friend is coming towards your right bicep. Okay? So those of you that are attacking, the point of your sword should never go through here. It's going to go around. Okay? So take your sword as an attacker. Bring it around.
Oh, we're I'm doing our
Yep. Okay, bring it around to 3. Good job, good job. Now, if your partner's having trouble reaching you, yeah, bring it in just a little bit. Okay, good job. Now, everybody look at where your target is. Okay, so Jen's blade is right here about my bicep. So you're gonna wanna drop yours down a little bit. There you go, good job. Perfect, Cindy. Looking good. All right, so drop yours down a little bit. And if you're here, if you're defending here, then your partner doesn't have any choice but to swing at your head. So let's help them out. So drop it down a little bit if you need to. Good job. All right, so 3, we're gonna go around to 4. So see Jen go around her head. Good job. 4, and then 5. Nice. Very nice. All right, so let's do that again. 3. Good. 3. Where's your target? All right. Somehow you got on the inside there. The gray shirt, you've already killed her. Bring it. There you go. You already got inside her guard. She's dead already. All right. So look where your target is. Make sure you're not too high, because the tendency is to go up here. Good job. So you're going to be down at their bicep. So 3. Let's go to 4. Good job, good job. Look at those targets. You guys look great. And 5. Okay. All right, good job. All right, now let's switch it up again. Okay, so my side's attacking. Okay, so we're gonna go around our body toward their right bicep. So 3. Good. Around the other way, friend in the red shirt there. There you go, perfect. All right. Looks good, looks good. I like it. Okay. And 4, go around your head. There you go. 4, looks good. And 5. All right, let's do that one more time. Okay, so 3, other way. There you go. 3, 4, and 5. Good. Well done, well done. All right, and come back the other way. So Jen's side's gonna attack. So 3. Good, really good. 4, around. And 5. Very good. Everybody's doing a great job. All right, that's good stuff. So you have 3 strikes. Okay, you know 3 strikes now. Okay, so what I'd like to do is let's take, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, because we've got 12 minutes left. So we're gonna take 5 minutes and take the 3, 4, and 5 that you just learned and make a small fight together. Okay, tell a story. Decide how you're gonna use who you are to tell your story. Okay, you can make up any story you want. Okay? And Jen and I will be walking around with you guys to talk about stuff, okay? All right, so let's spread apart. I love that part for those look great. All right, let's see them. 3, 4, 5. 3, good. 4, good. 5, very nice. Really good. Okay, now what's your fight gonna be? We're gonna go. So, who's gonna be the mad? All right, you're gonna be the mad. All right. So, are you friends, sisters, cousins? All right. So, who's stole whose clothes? All right. All right. So, she borrowed your favorite clothes without asking. All right. And you've argued, it's gone past words, and now we're gonna fight about it. All right. So take some numbers. So you're going to attack. You could use 3, 4, 5. That would be valid. Okay? And just put them together. Good. 4. Good. 5. And are you going to take that lion down? No! You're going to attack back. All right? So attack back. And you don't have to do 3, 4, and 5. What if you do 5 and 3? What do you think? So attack back. You just swing the 5. You return the favor. All right? So if you just hit your, like, you just try to hit you in the head. Come back. Straight down in the head. Okay? Just bring your sword down and over. So 5. 5. And then it didn't land, so let's try again and go to 3. Attack for 3. Okay, so you just took the numbers, you broke them up into something new. And that's what, so like our spine started with 4 and then 7, which you haven't even seen. So let's figure out some numbers that go to 3. All right?
Hello.
Take some of your numbers and put them together.
Check 1, 2, 3. Checking. I'm talking.
So go through that again and watch where your strikes are. Okay? Be real clear who's the one attacking. Yeah. Who's the one defending. Here. Yes. Yeah. What's your story, Dan? You don't know the story yet? All right, just go through the numbers. All right, so let's take your numbers. Let's make a new fight. Okay, so you see that 3, 4, 5, and then 3, 4, 5.
We're saying how pretty you are.
Change your numbers. So you could do 4, right? So William, you come around. Right hand on this back. Or on the other side. 4 to 4. Try that out. So you're going to attack. And 17 lying down. Come back. Okay. So 4. Around. You go 4. Oh, look at that. Really nice. Good job. Okay, what comes next? 4, and then 4. Where do you go? You want to go 5? You go even. You go back to 31. Good job. So now you got 4, 4, and then that's called a side over.
No, you're right.
All right, so let's do 4, 4, 5. Okay, so you attack 4. He attacks 4.
5.
Good. And then he's going to attack 5. Good job. Who's attacking? Okay. So he's going to attack. You're going to attack 4, right? So 4. Okay, so you attack 4. You return 4. Good job. And then you come back up to 5. Look at that. That's epic. Really nice. Very good. All right, what are you doing there?
2. 3. That's good. Yeah. Here.
All right, does everybody have something? All right, let's see. Okay, so let's see, you guys want to go first? Let's see what you got. Coming down here right in the middle. Okay?
Ready?
All right. Okay, so on guard. Good. All right, now, what's your first attack?
1.
Okay, good. 3, 4, and then a swing to 5. All right, what's after that? A 5. And a 3. Good job. Switched it up. All right, nicely done. Nicely done. It was real clear who was attacking, who was defending. Good job. All right. Well done. All right, you guys want to go? See what you got. Okay. All right, on guard. Who's beginning? Okay, good. 3, 4. Oh, you returned 5. Oh, and 4 and a 3.
Wait, good job. Over there.
All right, and 5. Nice, nice. Okay, let's go through them one more time.
Yeah, I keep
Slow down a little bit. Okay? And make it real clear which way you're going. Okay? Let's try them again. Okay? So slow down. Good. 3. Okay, hang on. Go back to your 3. Let's drop it down a little bit. Remember where your target is. Okay? Yeah, so 3. Come around 4 and 5. Nice. Very good. Very good. 4 and 3. Good. And then she's attacking 5 or you're nice. Good job. Well done. That's really good. Really good. All right, friends, let's go. Let's see what you got. We've got a few minutes. All right. 1 minute. We have 1 minute. Okay. Oh, yeah, swinging around 4. Good. 4. Another 4 to 5. Good. What's coming next? 3.
Wait.
That's okay. That's okay. Talk it through. Talk to your partner. You got it? You want to start at the beginning again?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So he swings around to 4. Good. Another 4. A 5. 4. And a 5. To 3. All right, good. All right. Now, well done. All right, you've got the same thing to think about. Where your targets are. Don't swing here. Swing here. Good job. Good job. All right. Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
Okay,
Distance,
good.
good. Okay.
Distance is good. 5. 4 to 3. Good. Good. Okay.
And then 4. Yeah, we're good. There you go.
4. Good. Okay. Nice. Nice. Now you guys have the big metal swords, so I'm going to be a little more picky. All right. So your defenses, that last 4 that you had,
Yes.
bring it across. So when she
Okay.
swung at you, so go ahead, give me a 4. Okay. So you parried here, right?
Right.
So her blade's already inside your guard. You're dead.
Right.
She's killed you. Okay?
Over here.
So keep it outside of your body.
Love it.
Okay? Let's see them.
All right. Over here.
You're just the 4?
Yeah, just the 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Show me a good 4 there. Good. Well done. And that's a good target, too. All right. Good job, guys. Well done. Well done. All right. I think that is all the time we've got. But you guys have been awesome. All right. Give yourselves a hand. You guys did a really good job in a very short amount of time. Thank you, guys. All right. Did you have fun? Yeah.
Guys, thank you all for participating in this. Let's have a round of applause for all of our fighters. And for Mike